Krishna. Thank you for giving us your association this morning and this beautiful holy place, the Tirtha, a place where Krishna is remembered. So it looks like today's verse is related to holy places. So this is a very special dham. We may take it a little for granted sometimes when we live in these temples and holy places, pilgrimage around the world. But it's a great privilege and opportunity to be here, and thank you very much. And I hope with your kind devotional spirit and hearts will allow us to speak a few words this morning on the topic at hand. I presume everybody speaks English, is that correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, good. So I believe today we're reading from the Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 10, text number 40, chapter number 48, text number 31 onwards. And there will be a few verses and one small purport. So kindly repeat. Text number 31 is on the board, I believe. It begins with na, is that correct?
Yes.
Na, hi. Interesting. This is, in the verse is am, and in the word for word is ap. I've never seen a change like that before. It may well be a typo. I don't know which one's correct. Ap sounds more appropriate, but it says am in the verse, am mayani, so we'll go with that one. Am mayani tirtani na deva mrit chila mayaha te punanti urukalena darshanad eva sadavaha nayam mayani tirtani nadeva mritchila mayaha te punantyurukalena darshanadeva sadavaha nayam mayani tirtani nadeva mritchila mayaha te punantyurukalena darshanadeva sadavaha nayam mayani tirtani nadeva mritchila mayaha te punantyurukalena darshanadeva sadavaha
Nayami mayani tirtani
nayam mayani tirtani nadeva mritchila mayaha te punantyurukalena darshanadeva sadavaha
Nayam mayani tirtani
Tirtani Nadeva Mrichilamaya Te Punanchurukalena Darshana Deva Sadavaha. Ladies, Nayamayani Tirtani Nadeva Mrichilamaya Te Punanchurukalena Darshana Deva Sadavaha. Nayamayani Tirtani Nadeva Mrichilamaya Te Punanchurukalena Darshana Deva Sadavaha. Nayamayani Tirtani Nadeva Mrichilamaya Te Punanchurukalena Darshana Deva Sadavaha. Nayamayani Tirtani Nadeva Mrichilamaya Te Punanchurukalena Darshana Deva Sadavaha. No, not. He, indeed. Ammayani, made of water. But it should be, water is ap, so that's why I say it sounds like there's a typo there somewhere. Apmayani, made of water. Tirtani, holy places. No, such is not the case. Devaha, deities. Mrit, of earth. Shila, and stone. Mayaha, made. Te, they. Punanti, purify. Urukalena, after a long time. Darshanat, by being seen. Eva, only. Sadavaha, saints. Translation. There is no purport, because these translations, in general speaking, and purports are compiled by disciples of Srila Prabhupada to complete Srila Prabhupada's great mission of presenting the Srimad Bhagavatam for the upliftment of the whole world. And it's not that we should stop at chapter 13 of the 10th canto. Some devotees want to stop at that point for various reasons, but Srila Prabhupada didn't want us to stop at chapter 13, particularly the 11th canto is so important to study. So we're going to read the translation pretty much. There's a little purport to the next verse, but to the end of the chapter today. No one can deny that there are holy places with sacred rivers, or that the demigods appear in deity forms made of earth and stone. But these purify the soul only after a long time, whereas saintly persons purify just by being seen. And we'll go on to the next verse. You are indeed the best of our friends. So please go to Hastinapur, and as the well-wisher of the Pandavas, find out how they are doing. And in the purport, it says, in Sanskrit, the imperative, you go, may be rendered by gachasva or gacha. In the second of these cases, the word following gacha means sva, which is taken in the vocative sense, indicates Krishna addressing Akrura as our own. This is in reference to Lord Krishna's intimate relationship with his uncle. Important verse. We have heard that when their father passed away, the young Pandavas were brought with their anguished mother to the capital city by King Dhritarashtra, and that they are now living there. Indeed, weak-minded Dhritarashtra, the son of Ambika, has come under the control of his wicked sons. And therefore, that blind king is not treating his brother's sons fairly. Go and see whether Dhritarashtra is acting properly or not. When we find out, we will make the necessary arrangements to help our dear friends. The last verse of this chapter, Shukadeva Goswami continued, thus fully instructing Akrura, the Supreme Personality of Godhead Hari, then returned to his residence, accompanied by Lord Sankarshan and Uddhava. So this chapter is entitled Krishna Pleases His Devotees. But we find the last section here is introducing the next chapter, which of course is the Akrura's visit to Vrindavan, or to Hastinapura, his mission in Hastinapura. Here Shukadeva Goswami is presenting this interaction here between Lord Krishna and Akrura. And in this chapter also, of course, Krishna has visited the homes of specifically Kubja, and in this case Akrura, to satisfy his devotees. The desire of the devotee, of course, to satisfy Krishna. The desire of Krishna is to satisfy his devotees. And we see sometimes in different, here we mentioned, the mention here is Uddhava, along with Krishna and Sankarshan or Baladev, return to their residence having given directions to Akrura. His mission. The Lord Krishna, in one sense, when it comes to, let's say, in a situation like this one, where there was a specific mission. He's going on behalf of the Lord to Hastinapura to analyze the situation. Krishna knows everything. It's not that he needs to find out, as if he didn't know what was going on in Hastinapura. But he engages his devotees. Not only he engages his devotees in such ways, for their benefit also, just like when Krishna engaged Uddhava, to take the message to Vrindavan. It was an all-round, you could say, benefit. Now, what is the benefit? It enhances the particular mood, the relationship of those particular devotees. In Uddhava's case, of course, he had the experience of the association of the Rajbasis and the intensity of their devotion, especially that of the gopis, of course. In this way, it was pleasing to Uddhava because it facilitated his progress, his understanding of, you'd say, Krishna and his devotees. Akrura has a different role, different mood. He's being sent to Hastinapura, which of course is not the same mood as Vrindavan in many ways. And Akrura himself has a different mood. We understand it here from Srimad Bhagavatam, how Akrura came to the borders of Vrindavan, more or less, and there he took Krishna to Mathura. Despite the protest, basically, the protest of the residents of Vrindavan, it was another plan of the Lord to please his devotees. How is that? It doesn't seem like it, that Krishna is pleasing the residents of Vrindavan. He's bringing them the greatest distress. A distress that we can imagine to some extent when one is bereft of one's life and soul. In some cases, parents lose their children. You lose your beloved. You lose your mobile. We have some kind of experience like this. But not on the same level. Some temporary emotional experience we may have, just to give an idea. But the intensity of the pain, of the separation caused by Krishna's leaving Vrindavan is the maximum, it's as far as it can go. It reaches the ultimate in this feeling of separation, which in the material world, of course, is practically intolerable, even though it's not on anywhere near the same intensity or depth. But the feeling of separation of the residents of Vrindavan, or wherever they may be, is simultaneous one unbearable pain and unending ecstasy. It seems to be a bit of a contradictory emotional experience, something which in this world, well, we have, I don't know if you can compare, but they say separation makes the heart grow fonder in English. Separation makes the heart grow fonder. So to some extent, we may be able to accommodate such a seeming contradictory emotion. There's much more to it than that, but that's not the topic of today. It's just related, distantly related. The topic to today is primarily, there are a few points mentioned, but we're honing on one specific one, which is perhaps was discussed yesterday. I don't know. Who gave class yesterday?
The day before was, yesterday was Chaitanya Charitamrita.
Oh, okay. And Bhagavatam the day before? You gave class? What did you discuss?
That was special because Akrura was glorifying Krishna. And then when he stopped glorifying Krishna, then Krishna started glorifying Akrura and offering praise.
Wonderful. What a nice topic. Thank you. What was your name?
My name is Eki Chakravartin.
Now I know who we've met. I'm sure we met before, but I don't think introduction was very...
We will do today.
Yeah, I know very well that that's why just as well I ask, because I've got to be careful what I say. Hare Krishna. If I fall asleep, you can probably best to let me stay asleep. It's probably better than what I say when I'm awake. Anyway, whatever. So, a significant point here, and taking up Ekachakragram Prabhu's subject, which he discussed on Saturday, how Krishna glorifies his devotees. Follow on. Another aspect of this, and it's not just, he's my friend, he's my assistant, he's my ambassador to send to Hastinapura, he's good at sussing out what's going on there. We see this goes on in society today. Somebody is sent somewhere to find out what's really going on over there. Even in ISKCON we have sometimes the need for this. Some complaint is there, that someone is being mistreated or something. Someone's got some issues of some kind, and somebody may go and represent the authorities or higher authorities, whatever it is, to see what's going on. And they're supposed to be neutral, not that they go with a already ingrained agenda to try to extract support or evidence for their, or they've already got a conviction or a conclusion on the subject. No, they're supposed to be neutral. So the essential feature, however, of this relationship here is Krishna. Perhaps the first verse, the verse which is on the board today, where a subject matter which we find reoccurring throughout the whole Srimad Bhagavatam, and not just the Srimad Bhagavatam, it's very common within Chaitanya Charitamrita, Chaitanya Bhagavat, every scripture, practically speaking, an essential feature of spiritual life, the essential feature of the purpose of, or the means to understand the purpose of scripture, the method of understanding Krishna, is in the heart, is emphasized here, is in the heart of the devotee. Akrura is, although he has some unusual roles, sometimes he appears to be playing, I don't know if the devil's advocate is the right word, but he takes to sometimes some strange, to take Krishna out of Vrindavan, very strange. To be a compliance in the stealing of the Shamantaka jewel and the consequent murder of Satyajit, etc. Very strange. And his leaving Dwarka, very unusual parts to play. It's ultimately whatever a devotee does, talking of a pure devotee, one who is directed by the Lord in this way, is all to enhance the purpose of the Lord or the pleasure of the Lord. And the Lord places the volunteers, like Arjuna was voluntarily placed into illusion, apparent illusion, so that Krishna would speak the words of Bhagavad Gita for the welfare of all. So I can't say I can analyze the situation in the case of Hastinapur other than that which is quite obvious. But this is certainly a part, an important part. It's all part of Krishna's mission in this world, Paripranaya Sadhanam Vinashya Dushkritam, to please his devotees, to annihilate the demons, so to speak. Part of his mission to evoke this great war, even, the Kurukshetra battle, and so many other things. To enhance the spirit of devotion of the Pandavas and Vidura and Kunti and others. Give a chance to those who are inimical, those who have chosen to act on their own account. The Lord sends his devotees into this situation sometimes to help. Give a chance, just like Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, not just to give a chance, but to deliver it, in this case, sent Nityananda to Bengal with a specific mission to preach this Krishna consciousness all over Bengal. The Lord sends his devotees here and there. He sent Srila Prabhupada to the Western world, all over the world, in fact. We see in today's verse how the mention here of how holy rivers, tirthas, etc., even deities of demigods also are mentioned, and how they may, by association, may purify, but it takes a long time. It can take many, many, many lifetimes. It's one thing to become freed of sinful reactions. Sinful reactions, for those who've studied the nectar devotion will know, from those who are very much on the neophyte or external platform, sinful reactions generally refer to not being punished for some kind of sin that we performed, some activity, become freed from that. Well, that's okay, in one sense. You could say that's one of the effects, and that's one of the reasons why people go to the church, or the only one, but one, or go to a holy place, especially in India, in particular, because they believe in karma. In the Western world, people don't necessarily believe in this, they don't believe it in the same way, for sure. But in India, they believe in karma, and in other parts of the world also. And they hope that they're going to become, whatever sinful activities we may have performed by taking a bath in the holy river or spending a night in the holy dham, they won't be purified. But that's a very shallow understanding, and not a really beneficial. It's not particularly beneficial in the long run, any more than a follower of any religion or pious person who approaches God knowingly, or God's representative, knowingly that I've committed a sinful activity, and just begs for forgiveness. It's certainly an indication of piety, it's an indication of some stage of God consciousness, but it's only a preliminary or beginning stage. Because what is seen and evidenced, and even in our own lives we may be experiencing this. What is evidenced is that although one may have stopped in one sense externally, internally, there's still a problem. Internally, we're still embracing the cause of the problem, of the effect, our attachments, our tendencies, our whatever, secrets, so many things. Externally, it may look a little shiny. All that glitters is not gold, so they say. It may look a little shiny on the outside, and we're going through and we learned a few things, and we speak a few things, and nice is very nice. But, and that's good. That, what's meant to happen there, and just like if one goes to the Holy Dom or temple, is meant to give us that opportunity. Our conditioning and the tendencies, the kutas which we all have, and the consequent bijas, the desires to enjoy accordingly, different objects, are developed. There's, of course, there's a root, which is our desire to see ourselves in the center as the enjoyer, but in terms of the practical situation which we're in, they have developed from our association with the modes of nature over a long period of time. And that change is evoked by association from a pure stage to a covered stage. And to reverse that situation, association is the same principle. We see Lord Kapila Dev's teachings to his mother Devahuti, that 20th chapter, I think it is, of the third or 20th, I think it's 20th, 25th, I'm not sure, of the third canto. They're in there are many places, but this is one place where the Lord explains the importance or the effect of association with devotees. Every learned man knows, every learned man knows that association with the objects of the senses, the material association, is the greatest entanglement for the living entity. When that same principle of association is transferred to the self-realized souls, it is the cause of liberation or freedom from material entanglement. Liberation is also not, in this sense, it's not necessarily the ultimate goal, but it's a necessary stage to reach that goal. Similarly, to become free, yesham tvantakatam papam jananam punya karmanam. In order to engage in devotional service with determination, one has to be freed of all sinful reactions and acting piously in this life as well as in previous lives, etc. So, this is a situation to create eligibility, but it is not the cause of ultimate, you could say, perfection. Just going to a holy place, acting piously, praying, taking a dip in the holy rivers, and so on and so forth. But here in this verse we see, if we read the entire verse, I'll just read it again. But these purify the soul only after a long time, whereas saintly persons purify just by being seen. And this is the essential feature of this subject matter, is the opportunity one gets to associate with a pure devotee. Yasyatma buddhi kunapetri tadake, sudika trada shubhoma ejidi, yatirta buddhi shalelakaichi, janesha vigesha evgokar. That many people, millions, especially now, go to Vrindavan or other holy places all over India, all over the world. Mecca, Medina, Jerusalem, so many places, Lourdes, so many places where they go. This pious is a spiritual sentiment of some kind. It's a God-centered, something is there. But it's just not with complete understanding. So the idea of going there is that they gradually, one gets that understanding, not just go there, get freed from the sinful reactions, the elephant bathes in the river and then comes out and rolls in the dust again. The tendencies have to be changed. Our inner let's say, consciousness, the pervading consciousness covering the soul is still pervaded with all kinds of, let's say, non-Krishna conscious perceptions, maybe even material desires, which needs to be purified. Otherwise, we're also, to a certain extent, just like Dhritarashtra has come under the influence of his sinful sons, we're also under the influence of these sinful associations from the past, which have formed our present conceptions. And we'll fight over those conceptions. We'll insist that they have to be imposed on everyone else. Otherwise, I'm out of here. We insist that we see things, what I see is what's going on sometimes. And this itself is a major topic, but aside from that, how is that going to change? Whatever the problem. Or maybe we're just downright attached to sense gratification or the objects of the senses and wonder what's going on. I'm still attached to sex life. I'm still attached to mundane subject matters. Still attached to whatever, sports, music, this thing, that thing, and so on. What to speak of embracing our enemies of lust, greed, anger, envy, illusion, and madness, etc. Or having no taste. Obviously, there'll be no taste in the holy name or in devotional service, or the taste will only be a very shallow one if our consciousness is, or we're allowing our minds to be full of all this other thoughts, etc. It may be something which we experience from time to time, or maybe more than time to time. So the change, as is already indicated here, is not just to see, and then that's very great. Akshnopalam tvad darshanam hi tanopalam tvad katra sangha. That to see a devotee, darshanam hi, is the perfection of the eyes, is very, very rare. To be able to touch a devotee, extremely rare, or to hear, especially to hear from a devotee is the key here. To go to the holy places, you may see or not see a devotee, or generally you're hoping to see a devotee. You may even touch, knowingly or unknowingly. You may be in a room, many people come into the Krishna Balaram temple, class is going on, and they walk through completely oblivious, maybe if it's in Hindi they have a little bit more tune in, but pretty much oblivious to what's going on. Even the deities, they see Lord Chaitanya, they hardly know Nityananda, they don't have a clue, what is this, who is this? They walk straight by, most of them. And they see Krishna Balaram, and it's kind of like, Krishna Balaram Jai. And then they go to Radhadesh, and you have to hit them with a stick to get them away from there. They're all jammed around Krishna, Radhadesh. And they can relate there, and they have some strong sentiments. But the change of heart is very slow. They go back home and they start planning how they can increase their economic world and maybe get a visa to go to the West so that they can get a better job, and etc., etc. Marry their daughter to somebody, some rich guy, get their son a good post in some university somewhere. Their whole life is focused on these things mostly. There's not so much of a major change of heart. It's not like suddenly you have a zap of a change, not like Danadara, for instance, in Sri Rangam, because he had the association of Ramanujacharya. Once seeing the deity, his heart just went complete 180 degrees change. But that was because he had the association of a pure devotee. He heard from a pure devotee. The secret is hearing, attentive hearing from a pure devotee over a long period of time. That may take also, depending how submissive we are. But that hearing from a pure devotee is the secret of transformation. And hearing includes service. Shushushro Shradanasya Vasudeva Gatarichi. to render service to those devotees who are freed of all vice. Great service is done. By such service, one gains an affinity for hearing the messages of Godhead. So service must be there too, otherwise, Krishna says, Tadvidi Pranipatina. You approach with submission and service unto church. Means we want the change. Submission means we want to change. It's not just hearing for the sake of utilizing it for furthering our false egos. I'm a great teacher, listen to me. I'm the best teacher, in fact. Listen to me. I know the subject very well. Okay, you can use that in Krishna service for sure. But if there's that element of, I'm the doer, so to speak, that's not the proper understanding. That doesn't please Krishna. Krishna wants to please us, so he wants to take away that which will not please him also, because we'll never be satisfied. The relationship will never be fully established as and until our hearts are cleansed of these ulterior motives. Devotional service is without any other motive whatsoever. Anukulyena, pleasing to Krishna. And how does that happen? Anushlanam. We cultivate this process of hearing from the devotees, following their directions. Then transformation can take place. Because the devotees, as mentioned here, just by seeing them, great change can take place. We have famous verse, Sadhu Sangha, Sarva Shastra Koi, Lava Matra, Sadhu Sangha, Sarva Siddhi Hoy. Just by a moment's association, Lava Matra, not even a moment in our estimation, but a split moment practically, of association with a real sadhu, a pure sadhu. Complete change can take place. It can take place. It may also take time. We may be a little bit dull, a little dull. But at least we can experience when we're in the association of devotees who are connected to Krishna, who are not on some kind of, let's say, selfish agenda. Their agenda is simply to please Krishna. Nothing in this world pleases Krishna more than to awaken Krishna consciousness in the hearts of the fallen souls. So the ambassadors of the Lord who come into this world, Belgium, wherever it is, why do they come? They're not just coming to check out the world. Prabhupada did a bit like that when he went to New York. He was an ambassador. He checked out New York. He looked at how people behaved, what was going on, how they reacted, what they liked, so many things. And to kind of get an impression how to present Krishna consciousness in this situation. Intelligent. And we see that, of course, with the grace of Krishna, that this movement has spread. And many people said when Prabhupada came to the West, you're wasting your time. Why are you going there? They will not understand. They're all attached to sense gratification. They have no interest in spiritual life. Because Prabhupada was ordered to go, as a crew was ordered to go by Krishna, or requested, Srila Prabhupada was not the only one, by the way. Many of his godbrothers received the same instruction, more or less, to go to the Western world and preach. And specifically, the essential feature of the Srimad Bhagavatam. We were hearing yesterday, probably, a few times we hear this, that Srila Prabhupada, when he was said that, we hear that Prabhupada went to the Western world and he took 200 sets of his first canto Srimad Bhagavatam with him. But Prabhupada said, no, the Srimad Bhagavatam went to the Western world and took me with it. It's the other way around. Srimad Bhagavatam is Krishna. So we're just, accompanying a Srimad Bhagavatam to fulfill the mission of Srimad Bhagavatam, which is to give that association to the conditioned souls. Maybe they can't immediately digest, so the Srimad Bhagavatam expands in so many other literatures in order to help preliminary, to give that preliminary start to people's spiritual lives. But ultimately one has to have that association of Srimad Bhagavatam for the full transformation to take place. And we have to hear the Srimad Bhagavatam from the right source. Nivita Trishna Upgiman Bhavoshidi Chotrumanobaman Kutama Shloka Gunanavadat. We have to hear it from those Nivita Trishnas, those who are pure devotees of the Lord, those who have no material motivation. They can act like this. Their association acts immediately on the heart. It may not immediately manifest in its fullness, but that seed, that injection in the heart takes place. A transformation of our very perception, not just a freedom from reaction. People touch the feet. Please bless me, Swamiji. And of course, the real blessings are more than just, I bless you. Maybe if they're very pure, you may get free from sinful reactions to some degree. But not that change of heart. That change of heart comes from the words. It's the words of the pure devotee which we have to hear. You go to a holy place or a church, you don't necessarily hear words of transcendence. You might hear something, but whether we digest it and understand it is another. But when we associate, this is the purpose of going to a holy place. If we just go there, as the verse we mentioned earlier, Yasyat Mahudi Kunpe Kutaduke, it's just one who thinks that this body, if we're still on the bodily platform, and we may be on the bodily platform also, if we think with this body, or we act like with this body, whether gross or subtle, and if we think that this place of my birth is worshipable, and these are my family members, etc., etc. And one goes to a holy place, just like a sightseer almost, take a dip in the river, holy rivers, waters, so say, see the deities. Actually, the deities seeing us. We don't have eyes to see, but we see something which may remind us of divinity. And we don't listen. We don't care to hear attentively from the saintly persons who go to these holy places for this reason. They go there to release the, you could say, the sinful reactions you're dumped there. The pure devotees also absorb those, and they give the opportunity for persons who are coming there to get the real benefit of a holy Dham. They are themselves walking tirthas. Wherever they go is a holy place of pilgrimage, and wherever they go, they purify. So very, very special. Just like we have the river Ganges, many millions and billions of people practically have been to the river Ganges. For whatever reason, different people may have different reasons, but primarily freedom from sinful reactions is on their mind. Elevation to a higher plane of the material world in many cases also. This is not really Ganga's desire. In fact, there's a story, there's a Shastric pastime, I think it's in the one, I don't know which scripture, Ananta Samhita, I think, one of the Samhitas somewhere. And it describes how once upon a time Ganga Devi, personified, went to Dwarka to see Krishna. And she was very distraught, in a lot of distress, practically crying. Krishna consoled her, my dear Ganga Devi, what is the problem? You look so distraught. Oh, my Lord, Kali Yuga is about to begin. I can only foresee countless people coming and bathing my river, or my form. just to dump their garbage. Become like we see some rivers are literally garbage dumps. So in one sense, just dumping their sinful reactions. I don't have any interest in staying, my Lord. Please allow me to disappear. Oh. So, Lord then spoke something very profound. He said, let me inform you of one thing. That very soon, in this age of Kali, very soon, of course, means 5,000 years or whatever, very soon I will send Mantrupashaka. I will send the worshipper of the holy name. And that personality will go all over the world, to the far distant corners of the planet. And he will convert by his words, by his preaching. He will convert countless people to pure devotion. And they will come and they will bathe in your water. And you will feel great pleasure. So I request you to stay, please. They will come and they will bathe in your waters and bring you pleasure as well as you give them pleasure. So Ganga was somewhat very consoled and elated and agreed to stay, at least for this period of Kali Yuga, the golden period, where there's an opportunity. We may not see a mega transformation on the surface, but there's a golden opportunity which is never afforded in this Kali Yuga of having this association, a pure devotee of the Lord who's not just giving some reverential worship of God, some piety, some religious process, but is actually giving this most rare, highest opportunity, the rarest of all gifts, you could say, to somehow or another an inconceivable good fortune, causeless fortune, to the conditioned souls to tune, to connect with the highest form of love of God. Prem Sankirtan movement has been established in this world to give that association to all living entities, transformation of their hearts just by seeing the Harinam Sankirtan. They have no idea what is it. A bunch of crazy guys, maybe they're on LSD or something. They don't know what you are. They don't even want to know what you are mostly. But the effect is there by the mercy of Mahaprabhu and those who follow him. The effect is there that the heart will be transformed by that association. So powerful, so powerful. Well, what is the time? It's time to finish. I was going to read some things, maybe tomorrow we would do that, about this subject matter. But I'm going to finish there on this note of the mercy of the Lord sending his ambassador into this world, his more Senapati Bhakta, to deliver the conditioned souls all over the world. In a way, dexterous way, Prabhupada says, the Acharya has to find the means to deliver this message of Krishna consciousness to those souls who come under the influence of this age of Kali, particularly. We're in Maya already, and now we're under the influence of Kali, where all sinful activities are prominent. So Prabhupada is that. Others, everyone can be an ambassador, but he specifically took that role and wishes that everyone else take that role. Lord Chaitanya has ordered everyone to take that role of being an ambassador of the holy name, to take the holy name to every town and every village and release the conditioned souls from the influence of their bad association and their illusions which they're in, and thus satisfy the conditioned souls, the devotees of Krishna, and please Krishna. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Jai Grantharaj, Srimad Bhagavatam Ki Jai. Any questions, please? Oh, Prahlad. I saw Leela Shakti, and I was wondering, where are you? And there you are.
The verse talks about the association of pure devotees. The rest of us, most of us, don't fall into that category. So I just wondered if it associates with so-called devotees like ourselves, they become also contaminated by the lack of devotional service that devotees such as ourselves have.
People are, generally speaking, I remember one time reading, very interesting, long time ago, one devotee who was an old devotee in the movement. He'd been in the movement 1 year. When I joined this movement, I met a devotee who'd been in the movement 3 months. I thought, my God, he's an old devotee. He's been around a long time. And, it was, you can see the effect of this in relation to what you're saying. Because this movement spread. When Prabhupada came to the West, there weren't many pure devotees walking on the streets of New York. There were some hippies, some many drug dealers, drug takers, gays, whatever. All kinds of weirdos came to Srila Prabhupada's shelter, whatever you want to call it. And Prabhupada inspired them, as we all know, to adopt Krishna consciousness to some degree at least. And you can see the effect of their association. Now, they weren't exactly pure devotees in one sense, in the sense you're talking about. But they represented Srila Prabhupada, even if they weren't representing him very clearly. I mean, you see some of those early movies. You've got Gargamuni there. God knows what the heck he's talking about there. Going on about, the Rasa Leela dance or something or another. I've forgotten what it was, but it was completely, you just had to laugh listening to him trying to speak. He definitely looked like someone who was on LSD or something when he was speaking, although he wasn't. But it looked like that, and someone else going on about, Kirtanananda saying, Krishna consciousness, the thing about this is that when people come, they never leave. Oh, he'd only been there 2 weeks, So that they appear to leave, of course, come and go. But nonetheless, tremendous effect was there of connecting people with Krishna consciousness. So, yes, looking at millions of people joined through the agency of devotees going out on Sankirtan. And now the next aspect is, what do? They're following Srila Prabhupada's instructions. So whether they know why or to what degree they're doing it, but to some degree they're doing what we're doing. So to that degree, you're going to see a definite effect. To go further is another thing. The books are there. And distributing books is just to see the effect of devotees going out distributing books. Millions and millions of books have been distributed. Millions and billions of people have taken pictures of the Harinam party. What do they think when they see the Harinam party? Or what do they finally find out? Oh, it's the Hare Krishnas. Now, when they say Hare Krishna, the benefit they get from that is more than the benefit they've got from millions of lifetimes, practically. Just that one effect. Prabhupada even said, and he spoke, that anyone who sees Lord Jagannath on the Rath car is going back to Godhead in the next lifetime. God knows what that means. He said that in San Francisco to the people at the Rath Yatra Festival. He said to Giriraj Maharaj, if somebody sees Lord Jagannath, it just could be anything come to that, which is Krishna, reminds people of Krishna. Somehow to remind people of Krishna. So even though we may not be so pure, even if they see your tilak and dhoti and so on, or sari, to some degree it reminds people of Krishna, even if you don't say a word, which is the purpose of this mission. If they take prasadam, even if they take it from the hands of a number one, hypocrite or whatever, if it's actually prasadam, they'll get some benefit. If they take a book, they'll get benefited. Somehow or other, they say Krishna, even if they don't have a proper understanding, they get some benefit, is there? More than all of their countless prayers for material this and that, and going here and going there, trying to get purified. But this is the only purification. So we're like peons passing on this pure message, you could say. And the degree that we're practicing, others will be inspired to practice too. It's not depending on us, it's going on despite us. But the more that we are sincere, the more that we follow, naturally the effect will be more profound on others, especially those in our association, to inspire them, inspire others to surrender. As they surrender, Krishna rewards accordingly. So yes, but there's always something there. Even negatively, there's always some benefit there by the devotees, or even other persons. There's a letter. One devotee was saying that, don't take this wrongly, it can be interpreted in different ways. A letter from Srila Prabhupada, one devotee is saying, or maybe it's a conversation, that, Srila Prabhupada, what about the people who are hearing the holy name from other groups? They're not in our line. And Prabhupada said, they were saying, because we hear that, when you hear a mantra from somebody who's, not a non-Vaishnava, it's like milk touched by the lips of a serpent. But Prabhupada said, and where are they getting it from? And he said, ultimately, they are getting it from our line. If Lord Chaitanya had not introduced this Sankirtan, where would there be any kirtan going on? Even if it is mundane or mixed, where would it come from? It's coming from Lord Chaitanya. It's coming from the followers of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So distant it may be, but something is there. And we just have to try to bring it closer to the center so that it becomes pleasing to Krishna. Krishna's will. So don't think, I'm no good for nothing. That's okay. But that doesn't mean we should do nothing. Play your part, whatever it is. Everyone has a part to play. Just invite people to the temple or give them a book. Something, prasadam. How can you go wrong? If you don't feel qualified to make prasadam, which you may feel too full on for that one, at least we can take some, maybe get some cookies from the restaurant or shop or whatever. Hopefully it's offered to the deities or some form of the Lord with some degree of devotion. And this will have purification. The more the purification, the more the purity, of course, in the devotion is there, you may find that there's a more accelerated effect. But still, there will always be an effect. Always. And we become purified by being an instrument in this process too. It's a very, all good fortune to those who receive, those who give, everyone benefits. Gradual progress, gradual progress. We should all don't give up the mission and just become, hide away. Take some part, whatever we can, in trying to connect others with Krishna. Online, friends, family, something or another. Continue to try to give whatever we've got. Whatever we have, try to share it. There are many devotees who come to Krishna consciousness on meeting devotees who literally fallen away very badly sometimes. But somehow or other they still have this, in the heart of hearts, is this connection with Krishna is always there. That remembrance, and they connect others sometimes. Well, this is good for you to go there. And we have quite a few devotees who are actually in America, for instance, and I don't remember his name now, but one devotee we joined in America was living in the manor for a while. He was a secretary for transcendental meditation in the States, or one part of the States. He's one of the secretaries there. And he asked this Maharishi one time, he said, I'm not satisfied, I want to know more about God. And he said, I don't know if it's true, but it's true what he said, but I don't know if it's true. That's what he said. He said, Maharishi said, you better go to Swami Bhaktivedanta. I'm not teaching that. What to do. So, Krishna's hand is working. We can't always see it. We're still seeing from our limited perspectives. Great way this mission is spreading through so many hands all over the world. Look at George Harrison. George Harrison, in one sense, of course, we can look at it in different ways, but he wasn't a pure devotee by definition of, Shastric pure devotee. Still smoking cigarettes, doing this, that, the other. But he spread Krishna consciousness in a way probably no one else did, as amongst the followers of Prabhupada. Millions and millions, in fact billions of people have heard the holy name. And many, that was their first inspiration in Krishna consciousness. Well, Krishna works through different ways. We're just an instrument, whatever little part we can play. Don't imitate. Play the part designated. But play it. Play it for Krishna as best as we can. Anything else? Yes, Prabhu. Oh, I don't know who's next.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Maharaj, for the class we heard downstairs in the kitchen. So, my question to you is, at the beginning, when we join Krishna consciousness, we are full of spirit, we can do it in 18 days. And
we were going to conquer the world in 18 days.
Yeah, and ourselves maybe 2 days. But it looks like after a few decades, we kind of hit the reality, and instead of stage of Radha towards Prema, we are kind of fighting, some of us, fighting backwards, and it's hard to embrace that reality we are in. And my question is, how to get proper attitude, meaning that we are not as far on that way as we were thinking, projecting, and hoping.
Good point. Different comments maybe there. Sometimes we hear people say, well, Prabhupada was just trying to, jack us up, give us this incentive. We were in a revolutionary mood, tear down the system and so on, change the world or whatever. Yeah. So 18 days, Krishna. Arjuna conquered the Pandavas, conquered the Kauravas in 18 days. Okay, the word changed. We were maybe thinking like that. Maybe you could say, from one mundane perspective, you could say, oh, that was just an incentive to push us on. At the same time, 18 days or whatever, let's put that aside. We hear that once or twice, perhaps in the past. But the conquering of our own hearts. Now, what's that statement of Chanaka Pandit? You can conquer the world by conquering your own senses. There's not a question of anything else. So it takes a little while to conquer our own senses. When we say conquer our senses, in other words, to fully engage our senses in Krishna's service, there's no doubt about that. When we first come to Krishna conscious movement, usually, there's kind of an accelerated experience, usually. And it seems like, you're flying in the sky, practically speaking. Enthusiasm is exploding. And, it's just like the most marvelous thing you ever experienced, which it is. And then sometimes it sort of slows down as a movement. There's another statement, now I can't remember, isn't it? Something about, no, I better not say, because I can't remember the whole thing. But it's about criticisms, fault findings in this regards. And how, as long as we have this tendency to find fault in others, there's no way that we're going to conquer the world, so to speak. We've got to conquer our own tendencies first. So what the question is it a question or a comment? I didn't catch the question. What was it?
how do we deal with that?
How do we do it?
How do
Okay.
we deal with it?
How do we deal with it? Yeah.
Personally.
Well, you start blaming others. That's the first thing you do. You blame others. It was their fault that I'm not making progress. And we're not conquering the world. We've got it wrong. And you can go on and on. No, that's not the first thing you do. That's the last thing. It's a great opportunity, positive, great opportunity to look deeper inside. It's not that we're conquering the world, we may have our idea of it. First of all, Krishna consciousness has basically spread all over the world. To what degree, that you may, I'll leave that to you to see, but pretty much everywhere. I don't know I've never been to a country where I haven't seen a shop or a hotel or a signboard without Rama written on it. The languages, even in the Arabic language, in different languages of the world, the word Rama comes up again and again and again. The word Hari is a common word in many languages. There are many ways that you could say the holy name is spreading all over the world. Most people, there are millions of people born every minute probably, but all over the world, in every country, to some degree at least, Krishna consciousness is there. Whether consciously aware or unaware, it is there. The message of the holy name is spreading subtly throughout the planet. All the time, as long as the kirtan is going on. As you know, sound vibrations travel round and round the planet. We may only hear with our ears a little distance, but the vibration is having that imperceptible effect on people. You can say it doesn't look like it. Well, there are other effects going on too, but that one is also there. And it's having us, we can only see externally, we don't see internally what's going on. So that's another aspect of it, that the Sankirtan movement is now going forward. Millions and hundreds of millions of books are sitting all over the world, deities in more or less every part of the world. More or less, even in Arabic countries. There are so many tens of thousands of these books now. Everywhere, Africa, everywhere. This is going on. So, but at the same time, what is the purpose behind it all? What does Krishna want? What pleases Prabhupada? Prabhupada would sometimes say, if only I could make one pure devotee, my mission will be successful. So Lord Krishna himself also, what does he want? He wants us to become totally pure. He wants to exchange pure loving relationship with us, with the devotee. So that definitely we can see it. Time. What is time? Time is a relative feature in one sense. It's a feature of Krishna. A moment or a million years in absolute sense is not really any different. From our perspective, it is. So it definitely takes time. It's like Prabhupada said when he was in New York, one person asked Prabhupada, do you have temples here? Mr. Rubin, do you have followers or what? What have you got here? Prabhupada said, yes. We have temples, we have farms, we have many followers. There's just a little time separation. They're there, but you cannot see. Just time will reveal. So we look in our own hearts. And my take on that is this is an incentive. Okay, if we can analyze externally how we can do better, both in our mission as well as in our internal mission of purification within and spreading the mission without, both are important simultaneously. We can look in our hearts and see. We shouldn't be like stuck in a mud, Sometimes devotees are in this rut that this is the way it was done. We have to continue to do it forevermore. Bhaktisiddhanta Maharaj tells the story of the poison well and how this stupid philosophy doesn't work. There are certain things we never change, but there are certain methods of presentation which need to be according to time, place, and circumstance. Dangerous, you could say. We're not acharyas, but Prabhupada definitely did that again and again during his physical presence. And he expected us to progress to at least to some degree, so we can have a little brain substance, to clarified brain, so we can see a little bit at least how to adjust. If something doesn't work, then maybe check it out why. Maybe, whatever it is, our presentation needs to be slightly adjusted. Not at the core, but at the presentation of the core. And then on the other side, within, why is it that these anarthas are just coming to the surface more than I can ever remember before? Why is it that I've lost my interest in hearing and chanting? Why is it that I'm captivated by criticisms, fault findings, whatever you want to call it, finding someone to blame for my own problems over and over again? My whole life may be dedicated to this, so in the name of justice, does zero help for our surrender or the purification of our hearts. Just entangles us further in this cycle of duality. And of thinking that, I'm in the center. You've got Krishna in the center. How do we do that? So it's a similar thing, that this association, and that's what movement's supposed to give, the type of association to help this change of heart. It requires mercy. It requires the mercy of the Lord. You have to desire it. So when you first come, clean the surface. Like when you go in the garden, you just cut everything down with your lawnmower or something. It looks real trim and neat, but naturally the roots are still in the ground. They'll grow again. The roots are still there. Devotional service, and at certain stages of devotional service, there is certain removal of certain, degrees of conditioning there. So in the stage of Anishtita Bhajana Kriya, certainly you could say the surface is cleansed, certain reactions are removed, but the roots may still be there. You don't notice them when you clear it at first, so you can't see them. They're under the surface. So you have to go a little deeper under the surface. That may require a little more intensity of prayer, association, and especially mercy, recognition, to recognize the need and to the desire. So that desire to, make that step, that deeper move in our lives and see that we do need to change our perception. Bhaktisiddhanta Maharaj said is evoked by exposing ourselves to the holy name, to hear the holy name attentively without offense, at least to desire that and to pray for that. To try to just do one little bit more. After 52 years, and thank you for this, because it's constant reminders which we need, and we're still struggling to chant 16 rounds a day and deal with the crazy mind and so on and so forth. We haven't had that spontaneous attraction for chanting the holy name, which of course when that spontaneous attraction is there, there's no question of being attracted to the occurrence of the material motivations or material desires, etc. It takes time and association and mercy. We have to try to recognize the need, I suppose you could say, and try to create an environment which is more favorable for achieving that. It's needed. Good Sangha, deep Sangha, serious Sangha, studying carefully, applying the medicine to our own hearts, chanting more and more and more and more the holy name of Krishna, praying for the Lord and praying to his devotees. We associate with the devotees through prayer also. They purify us in this way. Hearing about the pure devotees or praying to the pure devotees is very powerful. Purification of our hearts. And then whatever Krishna wants to do through us, so be it. We need millions, Prabhupada said. We need so many preachers all over the world to transform. It's one thing planting the seed, which is to a large extent is being done, is another thing, which is also, you could say, conquering the world in one sense. But to really make that transformation, then so many preachers are needed to guide and help and inspire others to connect with Krishna and progress in their spiritual lives. It's a big topic. And basically, look at ourselves first. Physician, heal thyself. It's pretty hard if we ourselves are in a diseased condition to expect, to convince others as such. We can pass on the message, and to some degree, it's up to them. They can become pure devotees even without us. Prabhupada even said one time, even if you all leave, this movement will still continue to spread because the books are there. But we should therefore think like that. We should try our best to be a good representative of the pure devotee of the Lord, a good instrument at least. Okay, I'm going to finish. Shri Prabhupada ki jai. Go Premanandi.